who could not join you here in person, but as you know, is with you in spirit. President Bio is a recipient of your Media Freedom Award. He has a very impressive resume when it comes to press freedom, commitments to freedom of speech, and commitments to political dialogue. So he extends his very warm greetings and congratulations to your outstanding leadership, exemplified here by, I think now they begin calling presidents for life. We go to president says, so election they go up on, he said, no, 2025. President said, hey, I wish me said we will go so long. So His Excellency conveys his very heartfelt congratulations to you, Mr. President, and to your executive for the outstanding job you did covering these past elections. I think one of the untold stories of the last elections in the melee of all the controversies is the outstanding leadership role that the media played in ensuring that we had such a peaceful outcome and peaceful elections. Excellent job, and we, on behalf of the government, we want to thank you for that. As I know I can speak English, so I speak to you. With your permission, Mr. Chairman. This is part of a very deliberate civic engagement strategy. That's when we talk, I want to talk, let people understand. And since we did Kenema, and we also did live on the platform there, I think the topic of this AGM is so important that I want to see some of the things that I want to say in Creole so that the one day we get the privilege for Yeri, they will understand properly. I want to say I call all the big English they will don't speak already. And I tell you one day we have a book plenty thank you for the book. As you know, we say we like book and we believe the book. We get a conversation about what's the role of the media in promoting dialogue and national cohesion. As I collect for do often, I want to be slightly controversial and say that me an observer of the space for many years, but me also an active participant in my space. So now as I did at this position as minister, I want to offer some potentially controversial thoughts. Number one, I don't always find them very interesting that as a society, we obsessed with neutrality, especially when it comes to the media and the civil society space. So what's in the happen is, and I lay a premise. What's in the happen is that all naya we get an expectation saying na both citizens na salon, but we are not for belong no side. And we are not for talk to nobody, we are not for engage nobody. And so I recently see we president and the executive go visit the presidents of the country. So people then tweet and complain and say that's a bad thing. So we will study peace, no say. You know they make peace, and the foundations of peace are relationships. All the peace will not happen in the world. All the great mediation efforts not happen because they got experts who sabi speak English. They happen because they bring people that we get relationship on both sides. And one of the challenges that we will observe now that if Umo na mi padi, they don't already say enough for me padi, so enough for you doing job. If we're able to draw a line between the ability for them to be friends, even for them we get your political preference, and the ability for also be upright and upstanding individuals when it comes for doing your job. So one of the things that we will always say is, in fact, for many years, I always don't publicly declare that I support SLB. There's not a single election where no one day publicly endorse SLB. But I also will challenge people and say, when it comes to the issues that I cared about in the patchwork of the day, I always don't take on the government of the day. In fact, the organization purposeful. In fact, kind of a very interesting place for us to say this, because we people now really try to use that for attack me. Sue the government of Salone, not once, when me na be the head of the organization. So my humble opinion is that one of the challenges they will get for unravel now this requirement of extremism, that you will be extremely unaligned for them to function in this world. Because me believe say an unreasonable and an unrealistic expectation. In fact, I will go a step further and call them colonial expectation. With people in the sector, because I get the whole sector, I get the privilege for work with, in the international civil society space for many years, the UN and other places there. For example, I'll give you an example. When the US get elections, we colleague them. Then we go and they're proud for say they go canvass for Hillary Clinton. Historic. This is how we colleague them. And we go all the work together at the same space. They go back to their own country, then canvass. In fact, it's a source of pride that they take part in civic action. When Obama won, historic. But in our own society, if you're not Sierra Leonean, you don't have the civic space. You say, oh, I support this person. Then they immediately don't become a problem. So they create a different expectation of us. Because that expectation, in my opinion, is because the framing sometimes is that we not get the ability for hold two thoughts. That we're not complex enough for hold two basic ideas. I get the ability for hold an idea, say, in the political dispensation as alone, as a citizen, between this party and this party, I support this party. I get the ability for all that. I also get the ability for all the second idea, that in this party I support, but Putin and they will not right. And that I will be part of the process for fix that problem there. So I think, say, as members of the fourth estate, we get a role for play. I think, say, the role, and also we get political journalists there. We get non-aligned journalists there. We get people that we all know whose side they dey. We get, because we follow in our civic education, so they add civil society there. We get civil society organization that we all know whose side they dey. My opinion now that some of the relationships we have, not a relationship they will for shy away from, then relationship they are assets in moments of crisis for them we advance peaceful dialogue now with society. Una your role we all with collective rule. Now for, not just for reports, like all the brilliant speaker they don't say, for reports who all waiting to happen and all, but una also get a leadership role for play. Because as journalists, una they set the agenda. Oftentimes una get the ability for either make law angry, law at one, because let's say for example tariff or the conversations about fuel increase. I can report that same story in a way for let I bring the tension down, or I report her in a way for let make let all man angry. Una gets that incredible power for you to do that for sometimes for direct how the people of the country they feel. But I also don't think say it's fair for saying that entirely una responsibility for promote peace and for promote cohesion. Because the politicians them say what they now, the actors them, the players them, we also get the responsibility for engaging to now, for provide information to now, especially in this new age of day. I mean, they talk to somebody say, if you not provide information to the media, either they report or the new media will report. Because I will say, you know, journalists will get principles. You say, I don't get this to you, but I want to cross-check with you, Minister of Information. So at the time for encourage my colleague and say, first of all, if I always pick me call. Secondly, if journalists reach out to you, if you always respond to the journalists, or come to it through and direct the journalists to the ministry, say, this journalist will ask this question, maybe we will help you package that information there and engage the journalists meaningfully. Because we also live in a very dangerous new world. The new media, they now Uda report first. Then I'm breaking news, they don't get any wait. I don't talk to Mr. President say SLAJ get for find a way for incorporate the new media into SLAJ. When I talk to the blogger there, half of them say they don't want to join, they don't want to get nothing for it SLAJ. The other one they say, well, they're willing for talk to SLAJ, for let SLAJ find some kind of way where they will incorporate them. So that maybe they will get a SLAJ affiliated body. And they say this because this conversation will get on promoting peace and national dialogue. Right now, most of the action now the media where they cause the stir, you know they come up from most of who within this room. They come up from the one day when are the leaders, bloggers, posters, sharers, that is social media space. So, as an association and as a ministry, one of the big questions they will get for answer on our ability to promote peace and cohesion is how do we engage with this emerging, dynamic, interesting beast, for lack of a better word, because it's a reality. So how does SLAJ, how UNA they incorporate there? How this will be part and parcel of UNA come? Because they say the complaints, they will not recognize them. So I ask them and say, we don't can go SLAJ to president. They work really hard. President not meet the aids. No, but it's important. We will laugh, but it's important. So I asked them a very simple question. When we want to go journalist there, I have to make one call. Not so? Just one call. I call the president, we discuss. Because they call only regional heads there, no so.